Okay, it is the topic today global warming and climate change. Here you need to recall somewhat the ninth class, that is evolution of the earth, right? We have seen that earth in the initial stage it was a fireball. It underwent through many what to call processes, many underwent many stages and turned to a beautiful planet Earth, right? Then after in that process, many gases were released. These gases did not escape from the what to call our Earth. They were at one place only. They were at one place only, and they turned to a layer around the earth that we call atmosphere. And this thin layer of atmosphere surrounding the earth given many benefits to us. One important benefit is that oxygen, right, which is helpful us, which gives life that we breathe. Then ozone layer, O3, which protects us from ultraviolet rays which are coming from the sun. Then the nitrogen, which makes us to get protein by what to call whatever we cultivate. So in that way, this thin layer helping in many ways. Another important benefit from this thin layer is that is atmosphere. Atmosphere acts like a medium through which water is circulated. Water is circulated from the earth's surface, from the oceans to what to call land part through the atmosphere. That means water is circulated from oceans to land, land to oceans, oceans to land through atmosphere. So atmosphere is a medium through which the fresh water is circulated. Very important advantage of the atmosphere is that keeping us warm. Okay, we are warm. That is the most important thing the atmosphere is doing for us. Understand? It is a thick envelope. Atmosphere acts like a blanket, right? Which we studied in a ninth class. And this blanket, the atmosphere, traps much of the solar energy and makes earth warm. That what we call greenhouse effect. Understand? Right? Just assume that what would happen if this thin layer is not there, right? It would be very cold indeed. Understand? Because the heat observed by earth is released into space, no? Then if total heat, that means whatever the heat observed by earth, if all that heat goes into the space, then earth would be cold planet, right? So we are what you call safe from the uh, cold status, right? That is just because of greenhouse gas effect, that is atmosphere, right? So what is the problem here, right? Keeping us warm is very important thing. That means earth is warm because of the thick envelope atmosphere. And this warmness from 19th century onwards continuously increasing. What happened in the 19th century? Many industries sprang up by industrial revolution. From 19th century onwards, our planet is becoming warm very rapidly. And this is the problem today we are facing. How it is problem? No, in the earth, in its initial stage, it has passed through many cycles of warming and cooling, so that now also it is becoming warm and it may become cool. That may be the what to call one of the stages in the formation of the earth, right? But what is the main point here, that this warmness is very high, understand? So what is the speciality? It is earlier our earth passed from the cycles of cooling and warming, that these happened over very long periods of the time. That means it has taken many long period. But today, from 19th century onwards, it is becoming very fast. Earth becoming warm is very fast. What is the difference between these two? One, there is a time in becoming warm and cool. The life which is present on the earth may adjust, may adjust to the changes happening on the earth, that is cooling and warming. But 19th century onwards, it is becoming it is becoming warm very rapidly. That means there is no time, there is no time for life to adjust to the changes taking place very fast on the earth. That is the problem today we concern, what we call global warming. The problem now is that heating is much more rapid, very fast it is becoming warm. The heat on earth is increasing very fast. It is not giving the time to adjust. We are not able to bear. Along with us, many life forms on the earth also not able to adjust to the fast changes taking place more rapidly on the earth. And these rapid changes on the earth leads to catastrophic changes. What is mean by catastrophic changes? Here I'm underlining catastrophic changes. It means that end. Instead, the results are end results. Nothing is left on the earth. Such a changes are taking place very rapidly, and much of the warming that occurring on the earth is from industrial revolution. Industrial revolution is a human activity, right? We have established industries. Because of our activities, the global warming is high, right? The climate changes are taking place. Temperatures are increasing very rapidly across the globe with our activities. So we are the reasons for global warming. Our human activities, our activities are reasons for global warming, right? So that we call the present global warming as anthropogenic global warming. In short, చెప్పాలి అంటే AGW. Instead, anthropogenic is a word describes human beings. So global warming is generated, global warming is occurring by human activities, so we call it anthropogenic global warming. You know, what are our activities? We established industries, right? We cut forest, we converted the forest lands into the cultivable lands. We cut forest lands and established shelters, right? We diverted the rivers and their channels. So many adjustments, artificial things we made to the our environment, right? Recently, scientists have discovered large volumes of methane under the frozen tundra, that is at a far northern latitude, mainly what you call in the vast expanses of North Russia. At North Russia, we see that it is covered with what you call ice, right? It is a frozen tundra. Under frozen tundra, there is methane that is very powerful than carbon dioxide, which are causes for global warming. Carbon dioxide is the reason for global warming, but methane is more powerful than the carbon dioxide. So they discovered, scientists have discovered that large amount of methane under the frozen tundra, right? When temperature increases due to the global warming, this ice in tundra melts more. If ice on tundra melts more, then methane will come outside, right? That is trapped under the ice. It escapes into the atmosphere. The methane, which is covered by the ice, due to the melting of ice, methane enters into atmosphere, further increases temperature. In turn, it causes the further increasement in the temperature leads to further melting of ice and releases more and more methane, so on. The cycling process instead. So in that way, methane is leading to the global warming, right? So what happens with the global warming, anthropogenic global warming? When this anthropogenic global warming is taking place, we see there will be disturbance of heat in the earth system, right? You know, we have studied in ninth atmospheric and ocean circulations keep redistributing the heat in the world. Heat is redistributed across the world by atmospheric winds and ocean currents. So, due to the global warming, the redistribution system of heating across the globe is disturbed. The disturbance in the redistribution system of heating across the globe is happening very rapidly. That means very rapidly means we see that all of a sudden heavy rainfall. Then within the short period we see again we experience high temperatures. So such kind of changes are taking place in the climate, what we call climate change instead. So redistribution system, when redistribution system is disturbed, there would be change in weather and climate patterns. Weather changes frequently. When weather changes frequently, all the changes taking place in the weather day to day and month to month, season to season, year after year, there would be climate change in the long term. So long term changes will take place, that is a climatic change, and short term changes, that weather changes also we find due to the disturbance in redistribution system of heat across the earth. It is not for one part of the earth, throughout the earth. That means world countries are going to be affected with the global warming. So one international effort has been made to come for an agreement where all countries trying to reduce the emission of gases. Greenhouse gases. Emission means releasing greenhouse gases, right? That has not achieved so far. Means to control the greenhouse gases. One international organization was established, that is called IPCC. What is that? Intergovernmental Panel on Climatic Change. Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This was an agreement which is set by world countries. and it held many countries to work out a treaty that to reduce this anthropogenic global warming effect. They want to slow down the process of the climate change, but it was not successful, which happened in 2015 at Paris. Dear students, before to that in 2012, also Kyoto Protocol occurred at Kyoto in Japan. We have seen in ninth class textbook, right? So all these conferences failed. Recently, what you call COP 2000, I think 16 conference of Paris on climatic change also occurred. All these failed instead. So why did they fail? Because there is controversy between developed countries and developed and developing countries instead. So what happens here when global warming, anthropogenic global warming continues? What happens? There would be what you call increase in 2 degrees centigrade, increase in temperature by 2 degrees centigrade. Okay, there is 2 degrees centigrade temperature increases. So to reduce this 2 degrees centigrade, there 195 countries have signed, but this agreement failed. Broadly, the disagreements between developed countries and what you call developing countries. Understand? Industrialized, economically advanced are called developed countries. So developed countries are those European countries and Western countries. Developing countries are not industrialized. So developed countries want that developing countries to stop burning the coal, burning the fossil fuels, right? Because burning the fossil fuel is very important for the development, because this is a way through which developed countries have come in their developing stage. Today, developed countries arguing that to reduce the burning of the fossil fuels. They are arguing that developing countries should stop burning the fossil fuels. What happens if developing countries stop burning fossil fuels? They may not develop, right? Developed countries have contributed by burning the fossil fuel to the global warming. Today, they are arguing that to stop it. And from the developing countries, they also arguing that developed countries have come from this way. Today they developed, so that they are arguing that, demanding that to the developing nations to cut down what to call the burning of fossil fuels, so that if they stop burning the fossil fuels, then developing countries would not reach to the stage of developed nations. So developing countries says that there is need of some support from developed countries. Then only there would be reduce in the what you call burning of the fossil fuels. As they as this agreement was not successful, that IPCC has been what you call collapsed. Instead, they have not come to fruitful results. Instead, so whatever the agreement it is, whether they agreed or not agreed, but the problem is real. What that problem? Anthropogenic global warming, in short, AGW, is real. Most scientists from the world agree that AGW is real. It is happening, and it leads to drastic climate change. Means the dangerous changes we have to face in the climate. They want that several weather and other changes will increase in the coming years. The best example is that we are in the month of July now. Where are rains? There are no rains. right? And temperature also increasing very much. It was 42 once upon a time, from 5 years ago, but today we are facing 45 above, 47, 48, right? So this kind of a drastic changes we have to face further in coming future. Understand? So scientists are warning that drastic climate changes will take place, and they threat, that means that is dangerous to our life. Understand? One of the human activities, one of the human activities that contributed to global warming is deforestation. You know, deforestation in the sense cutting the forest cover, right? So deforestation, burning of the fossil fuels, then releasing industrial pollutants into the air, right? Like this. Then what you call fossil fuels, what you call carbon dioxide releasing from the water, automobiles, right? Then taking out the coal, extracting the coal, all these leading to the climate change, right? So what will be the impact of this global warming on climate? Instead, so when temperatures increases, how much, just you need to understand here, if the 2 degrees centigrade, if 2 degrees celsius average temperatures increases, it would result a rise in the sea water level by next century up to 1 meter. That means if the temperature rises by 2 degrees centigrade, by next century, we would have to face 1 meter rise in the sea levels. It means the water level in the sea rises up to 1 meter. What happens if sea level rises by 1 meter? It would affect a large portion of the coastal area where millions of the people living with the livelihood of catching fish, right? Or India have a long coastal line. Many islands are there, right? Many countries have coastal line. So the coastal lines, the coastal regions which are near about the sea level will sink, that means submerge into the water. Such people who are living in the coastal area, they would lose their livelihood, and they would turn moving from that area to the interior parts, that is 21 percentage, sorry, 29 percentage, approximately 21, 29 percentage of the land part, ocean part, water body is very large on the earth, and whereas the land part is very small. On small piece of land part, the world population is adjusting, right? This is not enough for a increasing population. When people move from coastal area to interior area where they have to live, they have to adjust in a limited piece of land, right? So one example we see here, Ayla super cyclone. This occurred in 2009 at Kolkata, that completely destroyed Sundarban deltas. Nearly 200 squatted families, small families which live in huts at Nonadanga in the east coast of Kolkata, there they faced with flood hit. Instead, on March 30, all the slums were bulldozed. Bulldozer means they were removed. The people who are not ready to move out of that place because their livelihood is there in that place. They don't want to leave that place, but police forces are used by the government, right, to remove the water huts there. They set fire to the huts because people are not ready to move out of that one. And thunderstorms over the past few years have made sleepless. That the area filled with soil, what you call mud, and they turn to homeless. They work as a house helps, rickshaw pullers, and construction laborers in most of the cities. Instead, this is the effect of global warming. Instead, that means super cyclones. Many super cyclones will occur, right? Isla super cyclone. Recently also, uh, what to call the name? I am not getting idea. Just at Tamil Nadu, at that area, one cyclone has hit here, right? And another effect of the global warming is what to call rainfall. Understand? There would be more erratic in rainfall. More erratic means as we think that today it will be rainfall, there won't be rainfall. As we think that there will not be rainfall today, then we'll see torrential rainfall. Right? In the beginning of the lesson, we have seen Chevela region of the what to call Rangareddy district. There's a torrential rainfall. Recently, Hyderabad also, whenever the rainfall takes place, some 10 to 12 millimeters of rainfall takes place in that area. Understand? Excessive rainfall. Some part of the earth receives excessive rainfalls, and other part of the earth there won't be rainfall. That means one side we see that heavy rainfalls, and another part of the earth there would be drought. That means droughts and floods are expected to increase by the anthropogenic global warming. And if the drought increases, it would be it would show its impact on agriculture. There would be cultivation of the crops, right? Many of the industries depending on agriculture for its raw material, industries may collapse. People who are working in agriculture sector industries will be thrown out of the employment. Many people will turn to unemployment. Food will not be available. Food crisis will take place. Food riots will take place. People will fight for food. Understand? To a large extent, people's livelihood is destroyed by the climatic change, which is the result of the global warming. Look at these two figures, my dear students. Uh, Here you will see that these are the what Isla super cyclone, which hit the water Nonadanga in the east of Kolkata. Many of the huts are filled with water, right? The people are trying to arrange embankment in the flood-heated areas. Understand? So, by anthropogenic global warming, we would see the rise in the water level, sea level, right? The first thing. Second thing is that there would be droughts and what to call rainfall, that is floods. Droughts and floods are expected to be more and more with the global warming. Another important effect there's another important result, sorry, not effect, is result by the global warming is fast melting of the glaciers at Himalayas. Understand? If glaciers melt very fast, then it would disturb what to call the livelihood of the fisher folk, right? Many people who depend on catching fish for their livelihood, they would lose their livelihood. Freak weather conditions would increase. So climate change is something, it is happening throughout the globe. It's not at one place. If it takes place at one area, it would affect throughout the earth, right? See, the global warming is disturbing the redistributing system of heat, right? You know, there the heat is redistributed from one part to another part of the earth. This should not be disturbed. If it is disturbed, then there would be climatic change for long term changes and short term changes throughout the earth. It would affect all the countries would be facing this global warming. So one, it is so that everyone should go on working for the water, protecting the what you call our beautiful earth. Understand? So what we have to do here, we have to reduce the global warming. What we have, what is there in our hand to reduce the global warming? The present government is taking up Harita Haram, right? From formation of Telangana state onwards, we have seen Haram is taken up, right? In place of burning the fossil fuel, right? We should go for producing energy in another form, right? That is solar energy, wind power, right? Then what to call the vehicles which run by diesel and petrol to be banned, right? And Delhi, the vehicles are banned which are running on the diesel. They are using CNG. CNG also causing some water, right? So that in place of CNG now they are using vehicles running with the battery, electric power, right? In coming days, we see many changes taking place in automobile sector. Right now, BS4 vehicles are going to be banned. BS6 vehicles are running into the market, which will release very limited, but very less pollutants instead. So, if one country go on keeping norms to check the global warming, there won't be control of global warming, right? If India takes the steps for reducing the global warming, what would happen? The multinational companies which are in India, they will shift their locations from India to another nation where there is a flexibility, right? So it is in the hands of everyone, all the nations. It is the developed countries and developing countries should come together and work for the water, reducing the what to call global warming effect. Then only there would be water sustenance of the life. The life has to continue. So our life is in our hand, right? We need to protect our mother earth, right? It would protect us instead. This is about the what global warming and climate change instead. uh, Here after this class there I'm thinking to keep what to call